आज भारत और अमेरिका मध्य संपर्कर गुरुत्वपूर्ण दिन दुई देश मध्य सीमा और प्रतिरक्षा क्षेत्र में विभिन्न चुक्ति स्वाक्षरित होउछि। आज उभय देश मध्य 2+2 बैठक होता। एथिरे गुरुत्वपूर्ण प्रसंग में आलोचना होइछि। दिल्लीर हैदराबाद हाउस रे बैठक होता। बैठक में अमेरिका विदेश मंत्री माइक पोम्पियो और प्रतिरक्षा मंत्री टी एस्पर उपस्थित थिले। भारत पक्षरु प्रतिरक्षा मंत्री राजनाथ सिंह और वैदेशिक व्यापार मंत्री एस जयशंकर उपस्थित थिले। भारत और अमेरिका मध्य सामरिक और अस्त्रशस्त्र क्षेत्र में अनेक चुक्ति स्वाक्षरित होइछि। बैठक में बेसिक एक्सचेंज एंड कोऑपरेशन एग्रीमेंट बा बीईसीए को नहीं उभय देश मध्य सहमति प्रकाश पाई। यहाँ सेना और प्रतिरक्षा क्षेत्र में उभय देश परस्पर को सहयोग करेंगे। जो आलोचना चली आज 2+2 आलोचना अमेरिका और भारत मध्य निश्चित रूप गुरुत्व बहन करुच्ची। भारत पक्षर प्रतिरक्षा मंत्री और वैदेशिक मंत्री उपस्थित अच्छा। सेपरी अमेरिका पक्षर प्रतिरक्षा मंत्री और जो वैदेशिक मंत्री उपस्थित अच्छे। तेज सैटेलाइट रु भारत सेना अनेक सूचना पाई जहाँकि उभय देश मध्य होता आलोचन चीन मध्य लगी रही सीमा बद नहीं किसी गोटे फल बाहरी पारे।
I thank the secretaries, their delegations, and all members of US media who have travelled to India to meet us amidst the threat of COVID-19 pandemic. I deeply appreciate your commitment to our bilateral relations. During the meeting today, we have had comprehensive discussions on key aspects of our bilateral and multilateral cooperation. We considered the major challenges we face, the need for quick economic recovery and growth, prevention of the pandemic rebuild, the global supply chains and related issues received obvious priority in our discussions. I met Dr. Esper yesterday to discuss bilateral defense issues. We continued our discussions on larger regional and global perspective today over the 2+2. Signing the BECA today, after signing the LEMOA in 2016 and COMCASA in 2018, is a significant achievement in that direction. I would also like to highlight some of the other noteworthy steps taken by both India and the US in follow-up to our earlier discussions. These include positioning of US Navy liaison officer and Indian Fusion Center, Indian Ocean Region, and Indian liaison officer at Naval, Bahrain, greater interaction and coordination with CENTCOM and AFRICOM, setting up of the COMSEC account and increasing the scope and complexities of our exercises. Now, liaison officers at each other's establishment could be leveraged to enhance our information sharing architecture. To sum it up, our military-to-military cooperation is progressing very well. In today's meeting, we also explored probable capacity building and other joint cooperation activities in third countries, including our neighborhood and beyond. We have convergence of views on a number of such proposals and will take those forward. I welcome the acceptance of our request for cooperation in the advanced field of maritime domain awareness. Both sides agreed to comprehend the requirements and initiate processes for joint development of requisite systems and expertise. In the defense industrial cooperation area, we had a very candid and useful discussion. Recent initiative of Atmanirbhar Bharat in defense sector was underlined as a key driver and a guiding factor of our defense industrial cooperation. I highlighted the capabilities of Indian defense industry and their usefulness in the supply chain of major US platforms and systems. We have identified priority near-term projects for joint development between respective agencies which need to be fast-tracked under the Defense Trade and Technology Initiative and resolved to work together in defense research and development more efficiently. Defense innovation field was being growing consistently in our discussions in recent years. The instruments of Industrial Security Acts, DIU, MOI, which were agreed upon the signed during our last 2+2 meetings, are beginning to bear fruit. We welcomed the holding of the inaugural meeting of IDEX DIU in July 2020 through video conferencing and are looking forward to the first ISS summit this year. In our meeting, we shared assessment of the security situation across the Indo-Pacific. In that process, we reaffirmed our commitment to peace, stability, and prosperity of all countries in the region. We also agreed that upholding the rules-based international order, respecting the rule of law and freedom of navigation in the international seas, and upholding the territorial integrity and the sovereignty of all states are essential. Our defense cooperation is intended to further these objectives. Both sides welcomed Australia joining the forthcoming Malabar exercise. We appreciate the visit of Secretary Pompeo and Secretary Jesper to India. We had a very constructive dialogue and will continue to work together to strengthen our engagement in defense, security, and other areas. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. May I now call upon the Honorable Mark Esper, Secretary of Defense, for his remarks.
Minister Singh, Minister Jaishankar, Secretary Pompeo, it is great to be here in New Delhi and for the four of us to meet and to discuss the important issues of the day and indeed the important issues of the future. As the world confronts a global pandemic and growing security challenges, the United States-India partnership is more important than ever to ensure security, stability, and prosperity of the region and the world. 15 years after the conclusion of the first U.S.-India defense framework, the defense ties between our two nations remain a key pillar of our overall bilateral relationship. Based on our shared values and common interests, we stand shoulder to shoulder in support of a free and open Indo-Pacific for all, particularly in light of increasing aggression and destabilizing activities by China. I am pleased to report that today we made substantial progress in further strengthening our relationship, building upon last year's successful 2+2 Ministerial in Washington and the many discussions Defense Minister Singh and I have had these past several months. During our meetings these last 2 days, we reaffirmed the United States' commitment to a comprehensive and forward-looking defense partnership with India and discussed opportunities to expand our regional security cooperation, military-to-military interactions, and defense trade relationship. This includes increasing bilateral defense cooperation in the Indian Ocean region, Southeast Asia, and the broader Indo-Pacific. Recently, this cooperation was demonstrated by the combined exercise between the Indian Navy and the USS Nimitz Carrier Strike Group in July. In addition, we have exchanged military liaisons with India to strengthen coordination between our military staffs, and we are working to establish new cyber and space dialogues to increase cooperation in domains where both our countries face emerging threats. We also discussed engagement with like-minded partners such as Japan and Australia to advance maritime security, humanitarian aid, disaster relief, and other common interests across the region. India's recent decision to include Australia in the upcoming Malabar naval exercise alongside American, Indian, and Japanese forces reflects an acknowledgment of the importance of working multilaterally together to address global challenges. Defense information sharing, both at the service and joint service level, is another area in which we are making significant progress. It is important to note that we achieved a significant milestone today with the signing of the Basic Exchange and Cooperation Agreement, the last of the foundational defense agreements between our countries, which enables greater geospatial information sharing between our armed forces. We also reached agreement to expand secure communications capabilities between our militaries and among defense leadership. Finally, our defense trade and technology cooperation continues to grow, as reflected in India's acquisition of Apache and Seahawk helicopters earlier this year. We look forward to advancing sales for other key defense platforms, including fighter aircraft and unmanned aerial systems. Despite today's challenging security environment, the partnership between the United States and India, the world's two largest democracies, remains resilient, strong, and growing. I want to thank my Indian counterparts for the hospitality and leadership as we continue to work to deepen our cooperation, advance our shared interests and values, and defend international rules and norms. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I call upon the Honorable Michael Pompeo, Secretary of State, to make his remarks.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Minister Jaishankar, Mr. Singh, thank you for hosting Secretary Esper and I. Minister Jaishankar, it's great to see you again after having been with you so recently in Tokyo with our Quad partners earlier this month. Big things are happening as our democracies align to better protect the citizens of our two countries and indeed of the free world. And it's an honor to visit this great nation. It's my third trip here as America's Secretary of State. When I was here last year, I urged two countries to embark on a new age of ambition in our relationship, and I think we've absolutely done that. And that the conversations that we held today reflected welcome progress towards that goal. Thanks to Prime Minister Modi and President Trump's leadership and our shared values, our ties are growing stronger day by day. This morning, we visited the National War Memorial to honor the brave men and women of the Indian Armed Forces who have sacrificed for the world's largest democracy, including 20 that were killed by the PLA forces in the Galwan Valley in June. The United States will stand with the people of India as they confront threats to their sovereignty and to their liberty. As to our discussion these 2 days, look, our joint efforts to fight the pandemic, which we talked about at great length, are a strong signal that our nations are committed to working together and expanding our partnership across many fronts. U.S. health agencies are working closely with government partners of India on the COVID-19 response. Indian companies, too, are cooperating with Gilead to manufacture remdesivir for use by low and middle-income countries all around the world. And several Indian and U.S. companies are working together to test and manufacture potential vaccine candidates. Further, I'm proud to announce today new agreements between the United States Department of Health and Human Services and the Indian Ministry on Health and Family Welfare to enhance health cooperation. It could not come at a better time. The challenge of defeating the pandemic that came from Wuhan also fed into our robust discussions about the Chinese Communist Party. Our leaders and our citizens see with increasing clarity that the CCP is no friend to democracy, the rule of law, transparency, nor to freedom of navigation, the foundation of a free and open and prosperous Pacific. I'm glad to say that the United States and India are taking steps to strengthen our cooperation against all manner of threats, and not just those posed by the Chinese Communist Party. In the past year, we've expanded our cooperation on cyber issues. Our navies have held joint exercises in the Indian Ocean. I note, too, happily, that Australia is joining Malabar in 2020 naval exercise. I'm also confident that our two nations will work together in new and better ways to meet the region's infrastructure needs. Already, the United States has joined the Coalition for Disaster Resilient Infrastructure, launched by Prime Minister Modi, and we strongly support the Blue Dot Network. The United States Development Finance Corporation has established a liaison here, posting right in India. It's great progress that will set the stage for more good economic work together.
आपण देखुले भारत और अमेरिका मध्य जो 2+2 बैठक था शेष होगा उभय देशर सांबादिक सम्मेलन करा जाउथला।